depart the scepter ever between their feet. So what happened to Yahshua Messiah's family after they died? You know, or what happened to Yahshua Messiah's family after Yahshua Messiah himself died? We know that they were in Egypt. They try to place their graves in Egypt. But are those really the graves of James and his mother Mary and his sisters? Or were those just some cover-up graves so that they could throw the people off of the trail of locating the royal bloodline of Yahshua Messiah? See, I seem to believe that Timothy, who was anointed through prophecy, in the same manner that Jeremiah took the tin and twig to the house of Israel, so he took Yahshua Messiah's sister, because we know Yahshua Messiah didn't have no kids. So his bloodline had to be extended through his mother and his sister. And we know that James and Jude also became martyrs. So we know the existing family line is through Mary and through his sisters. And they were taken by Timothy after Yohanan, John, had passed on in his good old age. And they were taken to England, where the house of Israel was. And that dragon of old in Revelations was very, very mad, for he knew he had a little bit time left, and he went out with great fury to destroy the offspring after he tried to persecute the woman, which represents the mother, which represents the nation, heavenly Jerusalem above, which represents the bloodline of our people. For as soon as Mary and her daughters were married off in the same manner that Jeremiah married off the tin and twig of the king's daughters, their bloodline continued to flourish in royalty. So much to the point that we know the house of Gad, the Gaelics, was persecuted by a troop. And he was persecuted by a troop for the Gaelics or the Scottish. Persecuted by the troop of Ireland, which is Ashur. And we know in those times that was depicted in movies such as Braveheart that kings would not allow any daughter of Israel to be married off to what they called a common peasant without first the royal kings and knights laying with that woman. If they conceived their children, they conceived their children, and the husband would come and marry the woman that was defiled actually by a corrupted priesthood, a corrupted kingship at that time. And if they had a kid, then they would adopt that kid as their firstborn. Now, this was extreme evil, okay, that they had enforced. But we know, what of the wicked one for the wicked day? Much in every purpose. For everything works out for the glory of those who love Yahshua Messiah, who love Yahweh Elohim. So, through all this evil, we know the holy seed of not just David, but the holy seed of Yahshua Messiah himself was spread out through the peasant population, the poor population of the Anglo-Saxon remnant. That's the Scottish, the Irish, and the English, who make up the whole United Kingdom. So this is what we're dealing with. This is the Constitution that Bush represents. This is the Constitution the Tea Party represents, and we are more than willing to protect if it means that we lose our social recognition and we commit supposedly social suicide because we're not socialists. If we must become martyrs, we will not crash ourselves into towers. We will crash ourselves into society, and we will let these people know that we will die to ourselves, that we will do anything to make attention so people never forget who the persecuted of are the earth. For blessed are those who are persecuted for my name's sake. Now that we know the Constitution that we protect as a bloodline nation, as a bloodline nation that is white, not white German, because Germans, Assyrians, Babylonians are Gentiles. Those are our enemies. They've always been our enemies. And they try to come in our fields and sow their fucking seeds of wheat. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. Because I can curse. Just like Nehemiah, I can curse. I can prophesy in the bitterness of my spirit. It says in Nehemiah, curse those and pull them by their beards who were being disobedient and directing their people over in the wrong way to be mixed with Islam, and forget our holy tongue, our holy language, and they become mixed and defiled in a cooking pot of people to where they don't even know their heritage no more. And to where if you stand up for your heritage as an Anglo-Saxon, you're considered racist. You're considered like the Germans who spread the seed of racism amongst our people to the point to where neo-Nazis are taking the Confederate flag, which is not a flag of any Fourth Reich, any Third Reich, or any of the freaking Reichs of Germany, but it's the flag symbolized after the British Empire. Take the Confederate flag, put it right next to a British flag, and you'll see the very similarities. Because the war of the Civil War was not fought over racism. The war was fought over, should we return to the politics of Rome, or should we return to the politics of Britain? Who are we? Are we of the Roman Empire, or are we of the House of Israel, the British Empire? So by the cover of racism, the war was fought. And then soon afterward, enemies came to sow in our field and say, the Confederate flag is a flag of racism, when it's not. Look in Deuteronomy chapter 33. You'll see that Ephraim and Manasseh is like two ox with two horns that push to the ends of the earth all the people of the nations. And so their banners look the same. Manasseh, the United States flag, looks the same as the British flag, which is the Confederate flag. And we know that we have a 52-star state flag. But those stars don't represent 52 democratic states. Those stars represent 52 Confederate flag states. For that's what the Constitution is on. It's not based on the House of Tops. It's not based on this universalism, European Union, United Nations Council. It's based on our Constitution, our people. And from there, salvation is offered from the Jews who do not stray, the Israelites who do not stray, onto the Gentile people to be a part of us. This is why New Mexico is a part of the Tea Party Nation's heart fabric work. This is why there's many Mexicans in Texas. And just because that we rally and we protest to close down the borders to protect us in a time that Obama wants to win favor from the Mexican diverse population, even onto the Asiatic population and all the colored diverse populations, by saying that we're racist for closing down the borders, when all we're trying to do is say, hey, you're not going to deceive our people. Those are our people too. Matter of fact, they're more our people than yours because you try to deceive them and take them in the wrong way. Brother Lot, Latin America, which is Hebrew America, is the nephew and brother and fathered by Abraham. Okay? We have daughters and sons sent to the east, which make up the Indian people, the Pakistani people. Okay? Isaac, the Anglo-Saxons, from which Anglo-Saxon comes from Saxon, son of Isaac, has a brother named Ishmael. And this Ishmael started falling into false worship and worshiping Allah Islam, which is pure paganism and idolism. We still love, because if we didn't love, we would not stand up for Gaddafi. We would not stand up for Mubarak. For Mubarak, Egypt was the mother and wife of Ishmael. And with that being said, we keep the constitutional beliefs steadfast and conservatism. We do not stray. We preach it correct. We do not try to confuse the bloodlines with Nazism, with Black Powerism, with any of this ignorant Egyptism, because Pharaoh is not Gaddafi. Pharaoh is not Mubarak. Pharaoh is Obama. And with that being said, let's move on. Therefore I said, look away from me. Let me weep bitterly. Do not try to comfort me because of the ravaging of the daughter of my people. You cannot make me stop. You cannot comfort me. You cannot make me feel good about accepting me, to make me feel like I'm not an outcast, or to make me feel that I'm not fitting in, or to embrace me and warm my heart so that I can stop talking. No, I sit outside the assembly of the scoffers.